Welcome to Tea and Talk. I haven't had tea yet.
No tea.
I have zero energy.
Little bit of talking.
It took me an hour to get up off the floor.
It's been a big day.
Big day.
It's really hot and sticky.
In case you're curious, what Ilyra and I are doing with BodyMagick is that I'm training her to be a BodyMagick teacher. And what does that mean, Ilyra?
Training to become a BodyMagick teacher is a lot of breaking yourself opening and having sequential mental breakdowns until you become a better, stronger person so that you can pass that knowledge on to the next person.
Doesn't that sound fun? Who wants to sign up?
You do. Yeah, you do.
Today, we wanted to talk about judgment. Judgment is a theme that's been coming up a lot. And specifically, not specifically, we can talk about judgment of ourselves and also judgment of others. Mm-hmm. So there's some schools of thought that say that you shouldn't be judgmental whatsoever. That judgment serves it's no darn good. It serves no good purpose. I think, both of us would disagree with that for different reasons. Perhaps you will share your reason first.
Actually, very recently I was having a discussion with my best friend about something that her fiance tells her. You can have more than one really good friend. Okay. My longest friend, her fiance. Her fiance made what I thought was an excellent point in that we always associate the idea of negativity to the word judgment, but he sees the idea of a judgment almost more like critical thinking. So you're presented with something, you critically analyze it, you make a judgment, you move forward. That doesn't always mean that the judgment that you make is like, blah, that thing's bad, blah, negative judgment. And we hear that echoed in like, oh, that person's really judgy, or you're being really judgmental right now. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that ability is bad. It's just that sometimes the judgments that you make can come from an unhealthy or insecure place and can become negative.
Right. So then what's important is consciousness, or being mindful of your judgments. So to me, I think it's an important part of growth. I think judgment serves a purpose in that way, because when you grow, particularly if you're participating in spiritual rebirth cycles, and you're conscious of those spiritual rebirth cycles, each time you come into a birth, a newness, you may find that you become more judgmental. And that's because you're looking around and you're going, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And maybe it's not coming out in those words, maybe it's coming out as judgment of other people. But if you are able to understand that what you're actually saying is, that's not me, that's not for me, and then remove the, I don't know, for me it's like, I have to say, like, people are doing the best that they can with what they have, and that's their life, not mine. So it's not right for me. Certainly there are things that I feel people do that are damaging, and not all things are permissible, but in terms of maybe smaller judgments, I think those are the ways of teaching you who you are and how you want to be.
Yeah, I think any situation that you're faced with that requires a judgment or requires critical analysis is something that, especially in an immediate situation, is coming at your ego, and the way that your ego responds is how those judgments tend to be passed. But if you're the kind of person who can break through that, or if you have the ability to sort of critically analyze yourself in relation to what you're critically analyzing outside of yourself, that allows you to break through that sort of ego area and make a more a less negative judgment, a less negative idea forms in your head that way. It becomes something that you can learn from and not just try to protect yourself from.
Or something destructive to yourself. Yeah. And so in terms of the body and in your body practice, judgment comes up a whole bunch. In a balancing posture, it can be, I'm not not balancing today. Like, I'm
Right.
just tippy, da 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 da. You know, you get upset that, you know, why can't I tree today? What's going on? Or, you know, my legs aren't strong enough today to hold me up, or, you know, I'm not as deep in this stretch as I normally am, or, like, there's a lot of, like, and that's comparison to self. That's judgment, self to self.
Right.
And then in a room situation, if you're, like, in a class, although none of us really are right now, if you're in a class situation, it's, oh, other people can do this, I can't do this.
Right.
And so there's, like, all kinds of judgments that we make about our bodies when we're moving. And actually, I think about, I don't, like, run per se, but anytime I do find my body just sort of running, the thing that stops me from running is when I start to go, wait, I'm running? Can I run? Like, I start to judge how I'm running, and then I can't run anymore.
Right.
And the same kind of goes for any sort of physical practice, is that it's like awareness is fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Mindfulness and awareness is fuel for the body. Judgment, that like negative sort of judgment can be the opposite. It can drain the energy
For sure.
from you, right?
Yeah, like there are times, I've moved through it a lot, but especially before I started becoming a more physical person, a lot of the reason that I wouldn't do that was because I was afraid of fear. I had fear of being judged by other people, and I realized that that was because I was making those kind of judgments about myself and other people. So I would see somebody struggling to get into a yoga pose and not do it perfectly, and be like, I wouldn't ever do that in front of somebody unless I could do it perfectly. But that's missing the entire point of it, right? So in learning to break myself down and remove that kind of judgment from that I was projecting onto others that was reflective of problems I had with myself, it taught me to learn a lot about the critical analysis in that situation. Like, why is this hard for me? What else do I need to be working on? Where else is my energy stuck because I can't bend myself this way, and how can I move through it, as opposed to being like, nope, protect yourself from this is bad and weird, gross.
Right.
And it's just a lot better that way, I think.
Yeah, there's like the harshest, or the person you're most afraid of is you.
Yeah.
Like the judgment that you are most afraid of is someone reflecting back your own personal judgments on you. And I think that's why it's so important to recognize them, because if you can recognize them, then it kind of like takes the power away from them, so that if someone did say that like hot button judgment that you were worried they were gonna, you know, talk about or mention or highlight, it doesn't have the same sting or power that it would normally have.
Right.
Yeah. So, with all of that, we'd like to hear what you have to share. Do we have a specific question? What do you think? Here I am, just like stretching. Hi.
We want to know if you have realized some of the judgments that you've passed, either on yourself or situations, and how those have been reflective moments for you, or if there are ways that you feel that you can move forward.
Yeah.
Reflective moments out of them.
And sharing these things, it's like sometimes you share something and it just resonates with so many other people, and we just need to hear that. We just need to hear other people's experiences, so we know that we're not alone or doing something wrong or whatever.
Community is there for you. You've just got to explore where it is.
Community is there for you. I think that was... Okay, bye. Bye.